conversions. And this is the clicks. We used to get 0, 5 clicks, and now we get in 60 people every day. The process we're going to learn today of writing is basically a foolproof way of giving people what they want. And that's the #1 ranking factor. Bold the most important keywords in that sentence, in that paragraph. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to write and how to do a research for a specific keyword. Imagine you've already decided, I want to rank for this keyword or this topic. And I say topic because it's, with SEO, we never target keywords individually, but rather topics or search intentions. And within this topic, there are many different ways that people search for the same thing, for the same page. It will make sense in a bit, okay? So let's have a view. Again, let's try to imagine that we have decided a topic. In fact, the topic of this lesson or the keyword is going to be one that I use with my client. Like I was saying in my TikTok live before, this client was works in an extremely competitive niche. It's a niche that has to do with finance and trading and all this stuff. And in fact, when he first came, I was like, well, this is a real test to my strategy and my best practices to see if it works, because maybe you know, what I do works with some clients, but not with others. But in fact, like you're going to see today, it works regardless of how competitive it is. And it's very simple. Why? Because the process we're going to learn today of writing is basically a foolproof way of giving people what they want. And that's the #1 ranking factor. When people search something in Google, we want to get results fast. In fact, it's so fast that it almost looks like it's normal, but it's quite difficult to do that. Google is constantly doing changes to the algorithms, you know, ranking websites one, another, different, changing everything. And that's for a reason, okay? Websites are getting better, and perhaps in the past, the most authoritative websites, the ones that had the most backlinks and so on, were ranking. And although it's probably #1 or 2 most important ranking factors still, the links, trying to align what you offer in your page to what people want when they search is the #1. Because of the point I said, if you search and you get it fast, you will continue using Google. It's that simple. Imagine that for a month, every time you search in Google, you didn't find your answer. In the end, you probably, even if it sounds impossible, you'll end up stop using Google, okay? So we as SEOs, from the side of the website, the creators, we're going to make sure that we do that. So the keyword that we're going to use today is a keyword. Like I said, my clients is focused on the finance and specifically in forex trading. Is a very important topic that is called major currency pairs. This is the keyword: forex major currency pairs. Okay, the target, the most important and the most popular way that people search for what I want. This is the keyword that has the most monthly searches. Okay, this is important because currency pairs is a main thing of forex. So we want to create, in this case, a guide. It's an informational page. I found this on my research. Next step was to see what to write. Okay. So before we got into that, let's understand the process of writing, okay? And how to go from zero, from the point of, I've got a keyword, I want to rank for it. What do I do next? Is this, how many steps? 6 steps. These are the steps I use in my agency, okay? So it's what I do, you're gonna learn it straight away, okay? So initially, there's a bit of theory, okay? But it's theory that is extremely important to understand. So you'll always, you know, have a backup and do things the correct way. Because if you start straight away into, oh, you know, get these keywords and do these things, you're not really going to write correctly. Okay. Copywriting best practices, what you know, the text you write for in a magazine or anywhere else or in a newsletter are quite similar to SEO writing best practices. Okay. It's just with SEO, there are a few tricks that try to target those scanner readers, because in websites, people tend to scan before they read. We're going to look at this soon. Okay. So let's understand the best principles. Okay. Initially, we want to always, in SEO, the most important thing, I would say the most important skill, is to try to put yourself in another person's position or in their shoes, you normally say. Okay. Because we, at the end of the day, we are not, if we are an SEO and everyone here, they're SEOs as well, or they want to be, you're not really a potential client. For example, I'm not a Forex trader. I don't trade or anything. So I wouldn't be someone searching for major currency pairs. So I can't really use my criteria on what to write or what to say, okay? I'll need to try to get in the shoes of the person who would be searching that. So what do they want to see? How do they search for that? What don't they expect to see, but it would be nice to see? So maybe add their questions that they wouldn't expect, but when they read it, they're like, oh, this is related to this. You have offered me more value. Okay. So it's a bit of it comes with experience, but just try to understand again those buyer personas. What types of people could be searching for keywords like this? Okay. And once you sort of imagine these buyer personas, these types of people, you're going to, in the next steps of the research, have a different view rather than yourself, that potential client. Okay. You can ask yourself, to help you with this, questions like this one: what would this be helpful if I was, and a potential client could be a trader or a person that starts to get into trading? Okay, a beginner trader. Should I add in my article a topic about what are the most popular major currency pairs? Would this be helpful if I was a beginner trader? Of course, I want to know what currency pairs exist. Okay, so I would tick yes, add it. Okay. Another tip as best practices I recommend is to in general write, especially if you're a brand, write in first person. Talk about you as we. Okay, we offer this, we are that. For example, if we look at the article, we use that quite a bit. We offer this. Let me go here. We recommend you to do this, rather than this is, Audacity Capital. Audacity Capital recommends you to do this. No, you can talk about you as a person, because at the end of the day, the writer is the brand. Okay. And that creates a connection. It feels more real. It feels like there is someone behind the website. And at the end of the day, that's more trust and, authority. Okay. So that's just a little tip I recommend. I always add in my theory or best practices when writing. Another topic, and I'll go through this part theory quickly, because what we want is a practice and how to do it. And I don't want to run out of time like I always do. Initially, and this is how I do it with my clients, SEO, there's so many keywords and so many pages and stuff to do, that we want to make it as simple as possible. Okay. And to do that, normally how it works is when you start from the beginning structuring stuff. So when I get a new client, when they tell me, what we're going to do, what we're going to create, I always explain, we're going to create two types of pages. Even I would say two types of strategies completely different from each other. Okay. One of them is a strategy of creating informative pages. So these are guides or blog posts, however you want to refer them. But I refer them as pages that are going to target searches that when, the person is searching, they want to look for information. Okay, so that's the part of the strategy, and that's actually the page that we're going to look at today. Okay, so some characteristics of these pages are the ones here. Okay, normally the content is going to be more heavy. Okay, this because you're giving information. The pages are going to be longer, and things are going to be more dense. Okay, so if you are today here as a copywriter, this is the type of page you want to learn, because once you learn to write, an informative page, the next pages, which are transactional, tend to be a little easier in some ways. So what we want here is to create increased brand authority, provide value, explain points in a clear way, build trust, obviously, because when the person searches, they might be, in the middle of the funnel. They're not ready to trade yet, to pay money to trade, which is what my client offers, but they're learning. So if they learn by us, whether it's in that moment or in the future, we have, answered the question. We have taught them in the process of buying. And so they're probably going to buy with us. Okay. That goes back into why it's good to use we. So it feels more like we are helping them, a person. And the second part of the strategy are transactional pages. Like the word says, these are pages that target keywords that when the person is searching, in their mind is, I want to spend money. I want to do a transaction. And, I open here. This is the guide we're going to look at today, major currency pairs. And as you can see, the characteristics, there's a lot of points. There's a lot of content, subtitles, photos, everything here to provide value. Okay. And the difference you're going to see right here, boom, is a transactional page. Here we are offering the program to trade. Here they can join the program, and it's when they pay money. Okay. So as you can see, it's more transactional. We have a video here, our points, there's a title, everything is more concise, everything is with bullet points. So here we also, of course, we want to provide value and so on. But the main goal is that we explain what we offer in the most clear and concise way. So not really being very extensive. We want to be very clear. Okay. So we want to, advertise a product or service, what we do, and your text, everything has to be focused on getting that person to click, buy or fill in form, whatever your conversion is. Okay. So there are certain techniques to that too. Okay. And then obviously we want to encourage direct response, which is more or less the same of that I said before. Okay. So those are the two types of pages. I recommend you always to your strategy to focus on that, depending on the business. But normally it depends on the business, but normally we will focus on creating those transactional pages first, because there's more competition and they take longer to rank. So the earlier we do those pages, we create them, index them in Google, they're going to be there, ranking, okay, little by little. And then obviously, if we improve the SEO overall, everything's just going to start ranking. Okay. So normally focus on those service is what's going to make you money. And the other ones, informative pages, you're basically teaching people and giving help. So in the future, they spend money. Okay. Okay. An important point here, and it's what I refer at the beginning, is to always have in mind this. When you write in your website, write in a way that scanner readers can digest your content. The goal is that, imagine all the effort, everything you're going to learn in this lesson on how to write and so on. Imagine you do all that work, you write a lot, and then people just don't read. People, they're like, oh, here on next. It's called poker sticking. You search something and you go from one page to another. Many times, this is because, there's long paragraphs, there's not separation, there's no spacing. You're just like, oh, I need to read this. For example, I just want to know which ones are the most important currency pairs. I don't want to read the whole history of Forex. Okay, so this is why you have to do these best practices. Always have this in mind. Imagine when you write that you're writing for someone who doesn't really want to read it. They just want the information. They want to absorb it. And if they could do it like this with just touching the screen or something, I get it, they would do it. So have this in mind. So a way to do this, like I said, is to write with the inverted pyramid method. This extremely good article from Ahrefs about copywriting. So there's the link in the lesson. For people in TikTok, you can join the lesson colinseo.com/masterclass. Okay, and you can see the screen. So the first best principle, and this is the most important, one of the most important ones, I would say, is the inverted pyramid. So a lot of people think that you need to add a lot of stuff first. So a bit of people search for what's it called? Forex currency pairs. And like I said, you need to write a lot of things and at the end actually mention the currency pairs and which one's the best. But first you need to talk about Forex and what is this and what is that. And people think that is because if people stay longer on the page, if they read through all that stuff, or if they scroll, they stay longer, it would be better. But in fact, it happens the opposite, especially now we're becoming even more impatient for what I said already, that people are just like in and out, I don't care. So always in the top, need to know. Add the things that are important at the top, at the beginning, and whatever is nice to know, whatever is extra, or that, it provides extra value to your main points and so on, then later, okay? First, the stuff that is important. So here in this article, we would add stuff as like, currency pairs. First, it would be ideal because this article is probably for beginners, would be to, what are Forex currency pairs? How do they work? And then the best ones straight away. There's no need of any extra stuff. And here's all the ones with an image. So you don't need to scroll a lot to actually see what you want to see, which is the best major currency pairs. Okay. We can even help them with these links. People can click internal links that I'll teach at the end of the lesson how to do this. And people go to the specific part they want. Okay. So nice to know, need to know at the top, nice to know later. Okay. The next one is the PASS formula. This is about creating a good introduction. Introductions are very important for what I explained, that people is a bit of like a hook in a video. People need to sell them. Do I put my 5 minutes into reading this or not? If you have a good introduction that explains, that uses storytelling techniques where you pose a problem, you agitate them with like, this is what it could happen. This is, how to solve it. And then you actually solve it for them, or you explain how you could solve the problem, sorry. Then they'll be convinced to actually, okay, let me put this 5 minutes into reading everything. Okay. So if you go into this link, you'll see some examples of a good PASS formula. Okay. And then finally, ASMR formula, which is very simple. It's just, like I said here, annotations, short sentences, using videos, making spaces between text and so on. In fact, I recommend you, when you create these pages, if you have a page builder, like in WordPress, I recommend you to actually create it, whether you copy paste a test or you write it straight away in the page builder, to put the mobile view. Always edit pages with mobile view. Let's see if it works. Yeah. So from the beginning, everything is optimized for mobiles, which is the most important thing. And sometimes in desktop, a specific paragraph might look, quite short, but in mobile, boom, it looks really long. So always edit in mobile. So you make sure it's optimized for mobile and consequently, obviously, for desktop too. So those are a few of the best practices. Now we're going to get into the action. Now you understood a little bit, how to get into people's position or into their shoes, how to think like them, to understand what they want, how to write different techniques, how to separate pages depending on information and transactional. And now we're going to go and do it. So let's say from my past lesson, if you were here, we clustered all the keywords. And again, I found that I need to write about major Forex currency pairs. But that's just the keyword I have. That's very little information. It's just a keyword I want to target. So what can we do next? What we can do is we can find our competitors. We can find the websites that are ranking for that keyword and extract their keywords. So now we only have one keyword, but if we find these competitors that are ranking for the keyword we want, and we see what keywords they rank for, we're going to find more keywords that we can rank with that same page. So let's look, for example, let me close this here. For example, this one here, baby tips. In fact, that's a competitor that is always around here. You're going to see it. Let's use this one, baby tips. There's my keyword I want to rank. And with my client, you can see we're ranking number 6 now. Okay. In fact, with the results, you can see here that from the moment we created the page, these were the impressions, and now we're getting a lot of impressions. And this is the clicks. We used to get 0, 5 clicks, and now we're getting 60 people every day in a very competitive niche and in position number 6. If we go number 1, it will be unbelievable. So we get the competitor and we put it in this tool. You have the tool here, and we want to extract the keywords that our competitor that ranks for the page for the keyword we want to rank for is ranking also. Always put the country as well, and then we simply analyze. And this website, this specific page ranks for 44 other keywords. If they rank for that, we can do too. So we can just export these keywords, export all of them and put them in our Google Sheets. Okay. So you have here, and you can just paste those initial keywords. Okay. You can do this for not just one competitor. You can do it for more. So, you can, I normally recommend you to do 5 or 6 of them. Here we have 7 of them, and you're going to get a lot of keywords. So, you can add them in the keyword here of column and of keywords and volume. That you have to mention those keywords in a natural way, of course, throughout your article. Sometimes these keywords are going to be just sort of synonyms of the main keyword. So like you can see, major currency pairs, major Forex pairs, it's just the same stuff. Okay, that's easy to see. But sometimes these keywords are going to tell us specific topics, specific subtitles to talk about in our article, like 8 major currency pairs. We know there are 8 now, so we can do a section talking about those 8. What are major currency pairs? A section of what is it? Let's see if there's another one here. A list here. Maybe they want, we can add a section where we put all the currency pairs in a list like we did. Okay. So like I said, this is going to tell you already a hint of what to talk about in a very easy way. Okay. The second thing you can do is to get more keywords coming from that initial main keyword. So let's get our main target keyword, and we can go to a tool like this one that is in the Google Sheets and put a country, always with a country. And now we're going to get related ones. So these 37 keywords are related to this keyword. So probably most of them, you can also add them in your column of keywords to more things to talk about and more keywords to add. Okay. Of course, by logic, if you create a page and you add a keyword in a natural way, or if it's a specific topic, like what are major currency pairs, if you put that keyword into a subtitle and you answer it straight away, like we're going to learn at the end of the lesson, you're basically telling the robot Google, we want to rank here. Okay. It's quite clear if you add it. So that's why we do this. If we add keywords, we're telling Google that we want to rank for them. Okay. It's not about just adding them. Yeah, always go back to the best principles or the principles of writing, of providing value. It's not just major currency talking all the time. Okay, we want to provide value. Just always imagine as if someone was coming to your shop. Imagine your business was a shop and someone came and they ask you questions. They ask you, what are the major ones? Give me a list. You wouldn't talk major currency pairs, that's all SEO style. We're doing the new stuff now. So that's another little trick to get more keywords. Okay, again, just you can add them in your column and you have there more topics to talk about. Remember that before this might take like 15 minutes. Before we only knew we're going to talk about major currency pairs, and now we know all this extra stuff. Even more, we can also actually extract what Google is doing. So normally you probably know already when you write a keyword, you have this box of people also ask for. So Google is doing the job for you. It's telling you people who search or are interested in this topic, they're also interested in this. And in fact, I don't know if you realize, but when you press, more boxes open, as you can see. But instead of just pressing and so on, we can actually extract these keywords with this tool. You can just, the link is in the sheets, in the docs. You can put your keyword here, and this is what you get. It tells you the questions, and in fact, also the website that is ranking for there. But if we press here, look how many more questions. These are actual questions that people search for, and Google is telling you, and Google knows everything. So if people are searching, if these questions appear when people search major currency pairs, you should add them in your page too. Okay. I mean, this is even too much. That's one question. Let's open the other one. It's probably going to be there. All this. Okay. So again, these are questions you add in your column, and you know that you can answer in your article. So now we got suggestions from Google. We stole a little bit. Well, we stole what our competitors are doing. And now we want to, let me see here if this open here. We want to do an extra technique of stealing also the content. So we want to get as sources of information of what to write. We want to find keywords, which we did already, but now we want to see what our competitors wrote. We want to steal their content. And it's very, very easy. You don't have to go, one by one, go here and read the article and note down what they wrote and stuff. We are efficient. I'm obsessed with efficiency. And in fact, in Google, in SEO, it's very important because SEO results take time, even if you're a pro. So if you take even extra time because your processes are slow, it's going to be forever, and you're not going to get a return on investment in the end. So these little tricks help a lot. Just extract the competitors that are ranking for your keyword. Make sure that they are targeting the actual keyword. You can look at that in the title. It's very clear, or in the URL here. And don't extract stuff like Quora or stuff like that is not really relevant. Okay, extract pages that are the same issue. They're writing an informative article and trying to rank for the keyword. You can just put them right here, and you can put the formula that I added in the Google Docs. You have the formula right here, and when you put the formula, it's going to extract in 1 second, and you can see it live. Look, let me delete. In 1 second, it just extracted the main title, the H1, and then subtitles H2 and H3. H2 is a subtitle of H1, H3 subtitle of H2. In simple words, you have just extracted their content, because normally websites structure things correctly. So by looking at the titles, you can know what they talk about. Okay, so if we do that for all the pages here, all our competitors, and we zoom out, like you can see in my screen, straight away you're gonna have a real visual view of what they've written. So the goal is this. The goal is that you mention everything that each one is mentioning. Okay, and you can write that here. You can pick, okay, they're talking about they explain currency pairs. They talk about commodity currencies. Maybe I didn't find that keyword in my initial research, so now I know that's a topic. What is that? If you're a writer, you know already. You can write it here and talk specifically a section about commodity currencies. Okay. Just by doing that, going one by one and noting it down here, I have 10 minutes left. You actually going to write, by the nature of it, an article that is better than all the others, because there's stuff here that they all talk about. Perhaps what are major currency pairs? They've all talked about this. Okay, so if you talk, you are just like them. But perhaps this thing of commodity currencies, only this one has wrote about it. So if we now add those two things, we're already better than all of these others because they didn't talk about this. So if you do that with each one, plus the keywords you found, plus the questions, it's inevitable. I'm not going to say it's inevitable that you rank, because of course there's many other factors, but it's inevitable that your text is going to be more valuable, more in depth, more advanced. And we're going to answer those initial questions that we had, which was, what would be helpful to add if I was a potential client? And of course, we're going to even add things that even the potential client might not know that they want, because we've gone so much in depth. Okay. So once you do that, we can go to the next step here of creating the outline. As you want, you normally have this column for the outline. Outline meaning the structure of what you're going to write. Normally those are H1, H2s. Okay. So you write there the stuff, and then, or you can do it in Google Docs. And then obviously you can just start writing. Okay. Start writing. It comes from your own knowledge on the topic. In this initial research, of course, you can go to the competitors and see what they wrote. Never copy what they write or rewrite what they wrote. Okay, always original stuff. Okay, but here it comes obviously your expertise. If you're a writer that is specialized in finance and trading, it's going to be way easier for you than if you're just a copywriter that writes about everything. Okay, but at least you have an extremely in-depth view of what to write. Okay, and then now we're just going to have a look. I have 8 minutes left. Half time. His last lesson is stopped the camera. Now we're just going to look. We're going to imagine that you wrote the article. So now it comes the part called SEO on page, which is basically, it's very simple. People think SEO on page is SEO, but it's just a minuscule thing. As you can see now, look how many things we did before this. SEO on page is just a bunch of best practices that if you join colinseo.com/masterclass in the Google Docs, you have here a link with another Google Docs where I give you all of them. Okay, now I'm just going to mention a few of them so I don't bore you, but it's just basically a checklist. Have that checklist next to you every time you do a page, and that's it. It's just best practices. This is going to make your content and your page SEO friendly. What does it mean? That Google are going to be able to understand everything better, and that everything's going to be structured in a way that users are going to understand it better, as well as the page loading faster and so on. So good stuff. One of them is structure your page with H's. Okay, pages are created with HTML, and that's a structured content made with websites. You have HTML for the structure, CSS for the design, JavaScript for the interactivity. But many times Google, when it comes to see your page, they don't actually see this. Okay, they see this. Let's see if it loads. They see a bunch of code, scary code. Okay, all of this. So if we do their job easier by structuring it correctly, everything will be better. So normally pages have an H1, which should be the main title up here. And in any page builder, you can just select and put, select the text and put H1 or H2, just like in Google Docs. And then H2s, there's a hierarchy. H2s are the subtitles of H1. There are subtopics. Okay, so normally articles will have a few H2s, and then H3s will be a subtopic of the H2. What does this mean? For example, H2, the best major currency pairs, and a subtitle of this, which would be H3, are the actual currency pairs, each one by one that we mentioned. Okay, as you can see, I could have written this in just a paragraph, but I want to structure it. I want to tell Google, hey, I'm talking about the currencies. Look, H3, I put them here because they look, when they come, they look H1, H2, H3. So always structure content correctly. And of course, naturally add keywords. This is a keyword, actually. People search for the actual currencies, major currencies, Forex pairs, just using keywords naturally. This is a pretty good trick. As you can see probably here, and we have one of them. Yeah, they did here. Look at this. This is a feature snippet. Okay. This page is so good with SEO, and they've done this little trick really well that Google understands it enough to have confidence to say, I'm going to give them the top spot with 5 times more space than all the competitors, because they've added the answer to the question in such a clear way. Okay. To achieve this, there's not really a code we can add or anything weird, but we can just do the job easier with the best practice. Whenever you write a question as an H2, for example, remember one of the questions keywords that we wanted to rank is, what are major currency pairs? Always answer it straight away. Okay. Don't don't try to go, oh, I think this, I think that, or present a question. Always question, answer, as if it was a robot. What are major currency pairs? Currency pairs involve two currencies. Is this, and that. Okay. If you normally answer everything straight away, right below it, and then you can go more in depth later, you're making it very clear to the robot that here's the question, here's the answer. And then when people actually search these questions, you have a better chance of actually getting this featured snippet box. 4 minutes, uptime. Of course, add keywords. Naturally, you have all the column of keywords there to add. Normally, I recommend, I didn't do it with this client yet because it takes a bit of time, but I always recommend whenever it's possible to, whenever there's a question and answer, H2 and answer, or H3, bold the most important keywords in that sentence, in that paragraph, or in that answer. Meaning bold stuff that if scanner readers saw this and they didn't want to read this, they could get the answer of it just by looking at the bolds. So what are major currency pairs? I would bold major currency pairs involve two currencies. One is a quotation of the other compared to another currency. And maybe something here, examples of currencies. This, €1 is charged this. So the person, when they're scanning, they can just look at the question and look at the bolds. And if they want to read more, they read more. But at least we give them the chance in a way, okay? If not, if we don't do that and this was super long, people will just be like, next, okay? So it's a best practice and it works really well. It works really well. Obviously, make sure that the website is design friendly. There's spaces, as you can see in this page. There's a lot of spaces between images. In fact, this is a new website actually. So we, the points, the titles are clear, and so on. You can also add anchor links, which is the explanation is also in the if you go here, colinseo.com/free line SEO line templates, you will get it. Which is this thing right here. This is the best practice I use with all my clients, and I think it works. I haven't tested it, but I think it works. Is these anchored links? These are just links that when you press, it takes you to another part of the website. Normally, in fact, there's a smooth scroll. So when you press, it goes down smoothly. So if you just put these links here on the top, and all you have to put is whatever the section you want it to scroll in this section, add an HTML ID code to, for example, this title, which the ID code, if you see in the bottom of the screen, is best major currency pairs. And then on the button, put the link of your page, a hashtag, and then that ID code. So when people press, it's going to take you to that part of the website. Okay. I only have 1 minute left. So these little, I'll probably do a lesson of these little tricks, a lesson of little mini tricks that work for SEO, or I had one here left of FAQ schema, which is very important. If you can't wait for that, go to my social media, TikTok, YouTube, whatever is better for you. And I have some videos there about FAQ schema. And if you want to, go further from what you learned this lesson and actually create, the video will be uploaded to YouTube on Friday. And then you can just download colinseo.com free SEO templates, your SEO on page template, and start creating pages. Okay. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the lesson. If you have any questions, you can join in TikTok because the Zoom is finishing. And I hope you enjoy the lesson. I think I said it already.